Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by BP Visit. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor BP heads to the Sofina Factory in Malton to film using his camera and drone. However, things quickly escalate when front staff step in, wrongly accusing him of breaking drone laws and insisting he's not allowed to film. Instead of understanding the law, they call the police, expecting officers to back them up and take action.
Why do you need my name?
Because you're standing on private property.
No, I'm publicly accessible areas,
No,
surely.
this isn't public access.
Of course it is, open to the public.
No, it's not.
Well, you'd have your gates there, wouldn't you, otherwise?
This is not. This is our property. Legally, we've got title to the
Right,
land
but it's
that you're
publicly
standing on.
accessible. I can walk in there if I like.
You can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't. Private property. There's signs up that says you can't.
But I can. It's public. It's open. It's publicly accessible. You don't understand?
This is for access. There's a sign that says you're not allowed to access this property.
Where's the sign saying I am not allowed to access? Where?
Private property, no trespass.
I'm not trespassing. If I was walking there, I'd come down to reception or something like that, wouldn't I?
Can I help you then? What would you like to do at reception?
A front staff member quickly jumps to the conclusion that the auditor is trespassing, pointing to a sign and claiming the property is private. However, signage alone does not determine legal access. What actually matters is whether the area is publicly accessible. If there are no physical barriers, security enforcement, or clear controlled entry points, then the land is open to the public until instructed otherwise. Additionally, businesses that welcome visitors, deliveries, or customers through open access points cannot automatically claim that someone is trespassing the moment they step onto the property. The auditor rightly challenges this false claim by making a clear distinction. If someone were truly trespassing, they would not be following normal access routes that lead directly to the reception.
Give me a tour. Can you give me a tour around?
You can't have a tour around this. This is a private property.
Okay, I'm only asking. I'm just.
What is your name, please?
Do I have to give you my name?
If you don't have to.
Okay,
I'd like to know you.
I decline to give you.
You'd like to come to our property and have a tour, so I'd like you to know your name.
Well, maybe if you invited me in for a tour, then maybe I would give him a name.
Well, we don't do tours because this is a private business.
Oh, fair enough then, that's fine. That's okay, so I'll stay outside and just do as much video as I can see from here.
You're not allowed. I understand you want to take a drone picture as well?
Yes, I get some aerial footage,
You
yeah.
can't. It's illegal.
Illegal?
Illegal.
Where'd you get that from?
Where's your license to have a drone?
Under the CAA regulations, drone pilots do not need a license to fly a drone recreationally or commercially in most open spaces. Instead, the legal requirement depends on the weight of the drone and the type of operation being conducted. If the auditor is using a drone under 250 grams, like a DJI Mini, he is legally allowed to fly it in most areas, including near industrial sites, as long as he follows basic flight rules. Businesses often assume they have control over the airspace above their property, but they don't. Airspace is regulated by the CAA, and unless the factory is in a restricted zone, such as an airport or military site, there are no legal grounds to stop a drone operator from filming.
So if I had a license, it wouldn't be illegal?
No. You need to have a license to have a drone.
Do I?
And then yes, you do. And then you have to have approval to go over private property.
Where? I think you're mistaken.
No, I'm not mistaken.
Well, where are you reading that from?
It's illegal. You can't go in a drone.
I think you're making. Are you just making that up?
I can come to your house, take a drone, and hover over your window.
Absolutely can, yeah.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
Okay, well,
But this isn't a residence, so this isn't a private residence. I mean, obviously there's privacy issues with the house.
So I'm just politely warning you that
Yep.
if you I've already called our security.
Oh, right, okay.
If you put the drone up, I will call the police and we'll take legal
The drone will absolutely definitely be going up.
This situation is a common example of businesses believing they can dictate drone usage simply because they don't like it. The staff member's insistence shows their lack of education on the matter. Instead of taking the time to check the law, they resort to threats, assuming that police presence will somehow override the legal rights of the drone operator. What makes this even more frustrating is that police regularly attend these types of calls, despite the fact that no crime has been committed. If officers aren't properly trained on drone laws, they may wrongfully side with the business, reinforcing this false belief that filming from the air is prohibited. The staff member's reaction isn't just a waste of police time. It also highlights why businesses need to be properly informed about photography and drone laws to prevent unnecessary confrontations like this. Now the police arrive, and an officer immediately starts fishing for information and also fails to follow proper police protocol.
basically the reason we've been called is because the facility here, they've called with some concerns of you've been flying a drone, potentially planning to fly a drone over their facility. They've noted obviously the fact that they've got quite flammable materials, machinery and stuff which is quite expensive and obviously could cause some damage. They're worried obviously if you were to fly a drone over their property and it was to malfunction for some reason or other,
Right.
then obviously it could cause some serious damage or risk or harm to others.
So why is that a police matter?
Well, obviously if you were to cause damage with that intention, that would be a police matter.
Intention? I won't intention it to let me drone.
I'm not here to cause a bother or
Yeah.
fight. I'm just wanting to know what you're doing here and what your intention is.
The officer attempts to justify police involvement by bringing up the possibility of the drone crashing and causing damage. However, hypothetical risks do not create a police matter. If no crime has been committed and no reckless behaviour is taking place, there's nothing for the police to act on. When the auditor questions why this would be a police issue, the officer doubles down, claiming that if damage were caused intentionally, then it would fall under police jurisdiction. This statement is completely pointless. Of course, intentional damage would be a criminal act, but there is no reason to assume that's happening here. Flying a drone within legal guidelines is not a suspicious or reckless activity, and suggesting that it could be is a flimsy excuse for unnecessary police intervention.
Obviously, I understand it was something to do with the YouTube channel or something.
I explained everything to them, and then they still called the police. So did they ring 101 or 999?
That's 101.
Oh, good, thank God for that. It's not an emergency.
No.
So, okay, so...
What is your purpose? Sorry? It's for a YouTube channel, I understand.
Yeah, just go around doing, making videos of companies I found interesting. So, yeah, do that really, and fly my drone and get some drone footage and stick it all together. I explained everything to them, and they wouldn't have it.
Right, okay.
He's just saying, you're not, it's illegal. He went and looked at the CAA rules, and he came out saying you can't fly within 50 metres and all this. But
I'm assuming that's what you were all planning to do, is obviously within those, outside of that 50 metres, is that
no,
correct?
not at all, because mine's a 249-gram drone, so therefore my drone doesn't fall foul to that rule.
The officer incorrectly assumes that the auditor must stay 50 meters away from the factory when flying his drone. However, the auditor immediately corrects him, pointing out that this rule does not apply to his drone because it weighs under 250 grams, a fact the officer should have known before making such a claim. Under UK drone laws regulated by the CAA, the 50-meter horizontal distance rule applies only to drones above 250 grams when flying near uninvolved people or structures. However, for drones under 250 grams, such as a DJI Mini, the restrictions are far more relaxed. Operators of these lighter drones are legally allowed to fly closer to buildings and people, as long as they do not intentionally fly over large crowds and maintain visual line of sight. The auditor is forced to educate an officer on regulations they should already understand, proving how ill-prepared police are when dealing with public photography and drone use.
I can fly anywhere with that drone, so...
It does say within the 50 metres of people or buildings.
Nope, not on the CA.
Right.
So drones under 250 grams can fly within those.
Right, okay. And obviously within that as well, obviously if it's got a camera, I'm assuming you're adhering to obviously GDPR rules and stuff like that as well.
I'm exempt to GDPR because I'm not registered on GDPR and I'm not a corporate company. So all mine is citizen journalism and it is just pure public interest. So GDPR doesn't apply to me.
This misunderstanding happens far too often. Police and businesses frequently believe that anyone recording in public must follow GDPR, when in reality, GDPR applies to organizations and businesses that collect and process personal data, not private individuals recording for personal, journalistic, or recreational purposes. The UK GDPR and the Data Protection Act 2018 do not restrict a member of the public from filming what they can see from a lawful position, including using a drone. The fact that officers continue to make this mistake proves a serious gap in police training. Instead of wrongly insisting GDPR applies, officers should be learning the difference between corporate data collection and personal photography.
What drone is it that you fly, sorry?
So it's the DJI Mini 3.
Right, okay. I'm assuming that is under the...
That's, yeah, it's a 249-gram drone, yeah.
Perfect.
Do you want me to show you? I can show you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I'd like to show you. I'd like to stay within everything I do. I do this all the time, so everything I do is within the bounds of the law.
Yeah.
So he pulled out the wrong law, unfortunately. There you go, 249 grams.
It says on it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's right, because they need to keep them under 250. That's the whole idea of that drone, is to get under that 250 gram rule, you see.
as I understand it as well, that I know obviously you don't have to do the flight course or flight test that comes with it, but if you are flying it with a camera, you still need to register for an operator ID. Is that the case?
I do, yep. Did you know? Did you see that on the? There's a. I'll show you again.
Yeah, oh sorry. Yeah, it was on there. I didn't,
yeah. So you have to have it visible on the drone as well. So if you look, so there's the operator ID. So I won't give you any more than that.
You're not allowed to allow me to read it or show it.
Have I broken any law?
Well, I just wanted to see what it was.
Well, it's your operator ID.
Yeah, no, but
you could identify me through that.
Yeah, but that could be a number of letters or something. That
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I've not broken.
Willing to provide me with the operator ID.
Do you think I've broken any law?
No, but obviously what they're saying here is obviously it's their private property. You're wanting to fly over their property, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously to do that, you should identify yourself when asked.
No. Not really. Why should I? I'm a member of the public in a public area. Why should I identify to someone?
Filming over a private land that they've asking.
Doesn't matter.
Ideally, respectfully, should ask for their permission to do so.
Now in the video, the officer starts shifting from law enforcement to policing feelings, making the situation even worse. After the auditor shows that his drone has a valid operator ID, which legally identifies him as required under CAA regulations, the officer becomes unnecessarily nosy, insisting on reading it more closely despite already having the information he needs. When the auditor pushes back, correctly asking if he has broken any laws, the officer tries to guilt trip him, stating that because he is filming over private land, he should identify himself and ask for permission out of respect. This response is completely irrelevant to the law. There is no legal requirement for a drone operator to ask permission from a business before flying in unrestricted airspace. The officer's argument is based purely on feelings rather than legal facts, trying to make the auditor feel as though he is in the wrong, despite following all regulations correctly.
Think of it this way, so if I've got a light aircraft or a helicopter and I fly over here, do I have to ring every single company to say I'm flying over your business?
No, because that's within over 400 or 400 metres plus, isn't it?
The helicopter?
Yeah,
No chance.
They're not filming as well.
I can go 120 metres.
Like I said, I'm not here to cause a fight or bother.
Yeah, but you're making rules up, so...
I'm not making rules up, am I?
Right, I think you are.
What rules have I made up there, sorry?
That I have to seek their permission to fly the drone over their building.
It's good to do so, isn't it?
Well,
you're a member of the public and their business trying to do their day-to-day work.
Yep.
Obviously, it would have been nice for you to go and say, can I have this permission? And they'd turn around to you and say, ideally, no, they don't want you here, do they?
So reverse to that is, I'm a member of the public trying to do my piece of work. They should just leave me alone.
The officer now starts making it seem like he's defending the business, claiming that the staff are just trying to do their day-to-day work and suggesting that the auditor should have asked for permission out of courtesy. This is completely irrelevant to the law. Filming from a publicly accessible area or using a drone in unrestricted airspace does not require permission, and the officer should know that. The auditor rightfully flips the argument back on the officer, pointing out that he too is simply doing his work and that it's the business that is interfering with him. The officer's stance makes no sense, as it suggests that someone exercising their legal rights should go out of their way to accommodate the feelings of a business that is trying to restrict something they have no authority over.
Surely.
Okay.
Works both ways, doesn't it? So they should respectfully leave me alone to get on. I think I've had to wait for you guys. He said I've rung the police, so I waited. I don't want you chasing me around the estate.
What is the plan of action then? How long are you meant to be here?
I'm around all the estate. I'm going to do as many as I can, many buildings as I can, so you probably get more calls, I don't know.
Right.
You recording the conversation?
Yes, I am. Yes,
should you not have told them? Should you not have retold me?
No.
Yes, you should. I think it's, yes, it is. It's in your policy to inform them.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It is. It's in your
It's
check
not.
your policy.
It's not unexpected when dealing with emergency service that we will be recording.
This is not an emergency. This is not an emergency, though, is it? So
I'm an emergency service worker,
Right.
so like I say, I can go to any incident I'm called to and activate my body-worn camera. I don't need to tell you that it's activated.
right. What did you mention earlier? GDPR.
Yes.
How do I know that you was recording? How would I know that I can now
Like
get hold
I
of
say,
that?
It's not unexpected when
No.
dealing with a
Rob,
person of the
incorrect,
emergency
officer.
service.
Incorrect, I'm
not.
afraid. You are.
I'm not.
This response directly contradicts police policy. According to the College of Policing's body-worn video guidance, officers must inform individuals at the earliest opportunity that they are being recorded, unless doing so would compromise safety or an ongoing investigation. The officer's refusal to acknowledge this isn't just a mistake, it's arrogance. Instead of admitting he's wrong and following proper procedures, he digs his heels in, refusing to accept that the auditor knows his rights better than he does. The auditor then makes a sharp and valid point, stating, "You mentioned GDPR earlier, so how would I have known you were recording? I could request that footage." This is a powerful argument because the officer previously tried to apply GDPR rules to the auditor, yet failed to follow those same standards himself. The officer is clearly being hypocritical, enforcing laws when it suits him while ignoring them when he's the one in the wrong. This moment exposes the officer's ego and unwillingness to admit fault. Instead of accepting basic policy requirements, he refuses to acknowledge that he should have informed the auditor about the recording.
Right, so if you see the signs on there that they say video in operation, they've told you they are recording. You have to tell me you're recording. Right, okay, check it. Read your rules.
I will do.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think you do.
Fine.
I think you do.
I don't. Like I say, I'm not here to pick a fight.
Right.
I've just come down here on the basis of what they've said. They've got concerns for the risk of their staff and their employers.
Right, from a man with a camera.
You were sorry?
From a man with a camera. So what is the risk?
Like I say, they thought, or their rationale to us, was that if that drone were to malfunction over their property, it could cause significant damage or risk to others.
Okay, but that's my responsibility.
Yes.
Yes, and I have insurance for that. If that did happen, I'm insured.
The public liability.
I have public liability insurance, yes.
Public liability insurance is a type of business insurance that covers the costs of claims made by third parties for injuries or property damage caused by the insured person's activities. In the context of drone operations, PLI provides financial protection in case the drone were to accidentally cause harm to a person, vehicle, or building. While not a legal requirement for hobbyist drone pilots, it is often recommended for responsible operators, especially those who use drones for commercial or journalistic purposes. By mentioning his public liability insurance, the auditor is demonstrating that he takes responsibility for his drone use and understands the importance of safety and risk management.
So I'm fully insured, fully licensed. I do this all the time. I wouldn't do it illegally because that'd be silly. You guys would be arresting me every minute, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
You know, so I do it all legally. I've got to mention that thin blue alarm badge as well. I've got to mention the thin blue alarm badge. That is not standard uniform.
Okay.
So that shouldn't be on there. That's offensive for me.
Why is it offensive?
Because that's about the officers that have fallen in the line of duty, and more private citizens are being killed by officers than have fallen in line of duty, and you can check those statistics. So that is offensive and it should be removed. Could you remove that? No. Okay, so that is not standard uniform. Answer me that one.
It's a charitable organisation.
Is it standard uniform?
My respect to other officers.
Is it standard uniform?
It's not issued to me by the police now.
Thank you. Shouldn't be on there then. I'm offended by that. Please remove it.
The thin blue line is often used by police to symbolise solidarity and remembrance for fallen officers, but it has also been widely criticised for how it is interpreted by the public. Some view it as a symbol of police pride, while others see it as a sign of division, representing an us versus them mentality between the police and the public. The badge has also been associated with police misconduct and lack of accountability, as it is sometimes used by officers who resist scrutiny or criticise public oversight of policing. Some police forces have banned or discouraged officers from wearing the thin blue line patch, arguing that it goes against neutrality in policing and could make officers seem biased or unapproachable.
Can I ask, obviously, why you're trying to hide your identity and you're not willing to give me any of your personal details?
All my videos are faceless, so I always keep it like this, so faceless. He comes out with his camera, he's videoing me.
Right.
So I don't want him knowing who I am. Your van pulls up with China windows, if I'm videoing that, it could capture my face. So it just saves me having to
Are you willing
load
to give me your details? Like, it's for no reason other than we can log it down, and then obviously if in future we can contact you rather than having to appear in place. We can give you a call for all I know.
No, I'll decline that request, so yeah, I haven't broken any laws, so I don't need to, do I really? So,
like I say, as long as you're fine and happy that you're not going to cause any further injury, then
absolutely, yeah.
you'll be fine. Like
Yeah.
I say, you're not technically committing any offences as it stands at the moment, but just, like I say, just be respectful of others as much as you can.
But they have to be respected. It works both ways. They have to respect what I'm here to do.
Done to you,
Oh, he's not being bad. Don't get me wrong. He's not being bad. But what I'm saying is that I'm here to do what I'm here to do. He needs to respect that of me. He can't understand that I'm allowed, as you know, to video anything I can see on my hands from a public area. I am allowed to fly my drone over. The CAA regulates the airspace. It is not a no-fly zone, so I can fly here. It's not a problem. I'm liable for any issues if it falls out the sky. I have insurance, etc. You know, so I'm totally legal what I'm doing.
I'll go speak with my colleagues.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, absolutely.
With the officer finally stepping away, this episode comes to an end. One of the most concerning aspects of this encounter was how quickly misinformation spread. The front staff, instead of educating themselves on drone laws and public filming rights, immediately called the police, assuming officers would step in and enforce rules that don't exist. Instead of arriving with a clear understanding of the law, the officer fished for justifications to challenge the auditor, attempting to make the situation about GDPR, airspace regulations, and private land, none of which applied in the way he claimed. The officer's attitude throughout the encounter was another major issue. Instead of approaching the situation objectively, he sided with the business from the start, questioning the auditor's actions, making unnecessary demands for identification, and even suggesting he should ask for permission out of courtesy. This wasn't about enforcing the law, it was about trying to control a situation where no crime had been committed. Even when faced with facts, the officer refused to admit his mistakes, clinging to flawed reasoning rather than acknowledging his lack of knowledge. This encounter is a prime example of why filming police interactions is so important. Without evidence, officers can misrepresent the law and pressure individuals into giving up their rights. Had the auditor been less informed, this officer might have succeeded in shutting down a completely legal activity, not because of the law, but to appease the business. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out BP Visits. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audits, and I'll see you in the next one.